The tropical waves in our area continue to get stronger, and Invest 93L continues to churn in the northern Gulf. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We're your home for Caribbean weather, and it's fantastic to see you for the latest video. I hope you're doing well. A lot to get into in this video. Coming up, the newest information on Invest 93L. We'll talk about how this could develop in the next couple of days. We've seen some pretty brisk tropical waves in the Caribbean with some heavy rain and storms, and I've got your island by island forecast for you as well. As always, Meteo Mundo is sponsored by the lead law firm of Central Florida. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. It's storm season and the storm rolls into your area. You get damage of any kind. They'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process, offering free consultation and policy reviews. LeanOnMeLaw.com is the website. As always, I want to hear from my Meteo Mundo weather community, what's been happening in your area. You just want to drop a hi, I appreciate that as well. Surface analysis, 93L has basically been hugging the Panhandle of Florida coastline here over the last 12 hours or so. We'll talk about again the evolution of that coming up. Two tropical waves in the Caribbean, one right over the Lesser Antilles and the Virgin Islands moving into Puerto Rico, another one in the Central Caribbean, and in between there'll be some Saharan dust to talk about coming up. So let's get into what's been going on with 93L. The latest plot has the center trying to move off of the coastline of Florida. And that is very important because over the last 24 hours, for the most part, the center of circulation has been over land, and that has not allowed 93L to develop as it got into the Northeast Gulf. Now, you're looking at the visible satellite imagery and the live radar data for you as well. I'm going to switch over. Actually, that was the infrared imagery. I'm going to switch over to the visible satellite imagery because it's very clear to see. Here's your low-level center right off the Panama City coastline. But there is a secondary mid-level center south and west of that. And there's an opportunity for 93L to consolidate around that mid-level center, which is already offshore. That would up the chance for the opportunity to get some consolidation and a tropical system to develop. Tropical depression, still maybe even a tropical storm. There's that window, and that's why there's still a 40% chance for the National Hurricane Center. Now look, regardless of development, this is going to be a wet, sloppy system and a heavy rainmaker for the most part. So the western sides, the Panhandle of Florida, southern Alabama, Mississippi, and portions of Louisiana, including New Orleans, will be in store for heavy, potentially flooding rains, regardless of whether there's any development coming out of this. I do have the live buoy data I can bring on. You know, we've had some gusts here, 25, maybe up to 30 miles an hour from time to time. Our METAR sites, again, somewhat inland with a few thunderstorms, 30, 35. Nothing outrageous at this point in time. But there again, there still is a window for development with 93L, especially if the center can get offshore or consolidates around that mid-level center, which is already offshore. Stick around because coming up in a couple of minutes, I'll show you the models with 93L and how they play things out. But let's get back into the forecast here. Now, we've had some wet, stormy weather in portions of the Bahamas in association with 93L the last couple of days. Look, there's still some rich tropical moisture behind the system feeding back in with the southerly winds. We talked about that in yesterday's videos. I'm going to bring on the live radar here out of the Miami area, and you can still see some of that moisture. Kind of the winds are beginning to turn a little bit more out of the south and east. So even though they're a little bit more scattered today, there's still the opportunity for shower storms and some heavier rain for Walker's Key and Grand Bahama and the Abacos, Bimini, developing over the Andros area right now, trying to lift up again north and west. A couple of scattered showers near Eleuthera and Nassau. It's not nearly as concentrated. There's actually some good lightning east of the islands right now, and some lightning that developed over the Cat Island area. When I bring back on the satellite data, that infrared data, you can see some of that developing. We had some over Exuma in Long Island, in Rum Key, in San Salvador earlier in the day. So again, not as widespread, but still pockets of unstable air and some decent thunderstorms. About a half hour ago, we had a lot of gray sky just off the coastline of Long Island. This is looking off towards the west from White House. Again, this is live cameras here at Meteo Mundo. Happy to present those to you guys here on the channel. This is another live shot What a gorgeous picture from central Eleuthera. A little bit breezier conditions there at Governor's Harbor. Some of those darker, lower clouds, a little bit of rain in the distance there. And that's the situation. Some blue sky, some passing showers and storms, still some rich tropical moisture that will begin to dry out a little bit. But again, as long as we have a south wind here, we're going to have the opportunity for some storms. Now it dries out a little bit more. Southeast Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, mainly dry day across this area. I'll bring back on these wind gusts just in case we've had a little bit of wind. You know, temperatures temperatures today in the Caicos and Grand Turk, not bad, upper 80s, a little bit of Saharan air, nothing outrageous. There's the wind in San Salvador I wanted to mention. As the thunderstorms come through, the wind picked up to around 31 miles an hour. Still a fairly wet day across most of, Cuba at the hour. You can see the live radar data there. Let me actually make sure I get rid of the data here. But again, nice thunderstorms inland at this point in time. We've seen a couple of scattered showers trying to develop across the Cayman Islands today, but it's been very few and far between, mainly dry afternoon across those areas. Basically a dry afternoon so far in Jamaica. Again, trying to get a couple of scattered showers and a rumble of thunder to develop. And it's not out of the question that's going to happen. Temperatures have begun to climb because of this. Even in Montego Bay today, they got to 88 degrees Fahrenheit, right around 31 degrees Celsius. And again, a fairly narrow window of opportunity. But I'm not going to rule out a couple of showers trying to get going in western and southern parishes later in the day. Now, southern sides of the island, guess what? The large wave and the strong wind advisory is in effect again for both nearshore and offshore waters. When I bring back on the visible satellite imagery here, again, you'll see some of that brisk moving shower activity that tried to roll through earlier with the cloud coverage. And then actually over the last couple of hours, things have actually dried out a little bit. We've had a couple of scattered showers trying to develop over portions of Hispaniola, on over towards the Santiago de los Caballeros area, Santo Domingo as well. And again, a few isolated showers and storms have continued to try and develop in these areas. They haven't been much, but there'll be more coming. The better rain chances will be moving into the DR and Haiti in the next day or two, and that's going to be ahead of what's going to be some decent Saharan air that'll be moving back in to dry things out. But we'll try and get you a few storms again, right just north of Santo Domingo, north and west of Port-au-Prince. We've had a lot of wind in the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico for today. Once again, these are wind gusts in miles an hour. It just feels like these areas have just had so much wind lately. We're in the afternoon hours. We've got 25, 30 plus mile an hour winds, and it has come with some fast moving showers and storms over the past 24 hours. I'm going to bring you the live radar here out of Puerto Rico. Take a look at this. We've actually had a couple of flood advisories issued across the island today. Now that's one step below like a flash flood advisory or a flash flood warning, but we've had some heavier rain near the Ulti Alto area. You can see that as well. We've had some heavier rain near Ponce and Yauco, and a couple of scattered showers and storms near Bayamon and San Juan. All of this is moving from east to west. We'll continue to see some scattered showers develop near the Fajardo area. Vieques and Culebra could be in store for a couple of fast-moving showers. Same situation for the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John. All these areas could still catch a fast-moving shower late on this Wednesday or roll it overnight and pick it back up again on our Thursday morning as well. Back over to the visible satellite imagery, you can see those fast-moving showers. Now, couple of pictures and videos to show you. This is from earlier today in Christiansted from R. That is a nice shower and some gusty winds that rolled across St. Croix earlier. And he said that, we had a little bit of rain earlier today, but island-wide, there were multiple rounds of showers like this on this Wednesday. So if you live in St. Croix, let me know in the comment section below if you had some of that healthier rain. But what could end up being is what we had late yesterday evening from Isabel. She sent this in from Christiansted, and there's kind of the calm after the storm, or if you want to say, the calm before the storm, before they roll back in the morning. Appreciate Art Isabel sending in those pictures and videos to help tell the story. On over to the Lesser Antilles. Again, brisk moving showers. Winds are up to 30 miles an hour in St. Martin again for today. We've had pockets of heavier rain, just been a little bit more limited across places like Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart's, Antigua and Barbuda, Save St. Eustatius, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, Guadalupe. Again, your easterlies are well into play for today, and we're going to see some moisture. Now, the farther south that you go, the better the moisture quality is with the tropical wave. Now, rain chances overall are going to be decent in these areas through the remainder of today and for tomorrow. But where we're seeing the best opportunity right now, we've seen a couple of showers and a few rumbles of thunder develop on the southern side of St. Lucia, just south and west of Barbados, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, including Bequia and Carriacou, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, trying to develop a couple of showers in your area right now. And there is even richer, deeper tropical moisture just off towards your east. This could be moving in tonight over TNT with heavier rain overnight and into early on Thursday morning, and then all this spreads off towards the west. Before I move any further, but went too far that way, you know we've got our live camera here in St. Lucia, so let's take a look at that. Again, a couple of passing showers possible over the Corinth area. You can see a little bit of wind out there right now as we take a look. This is looking west from the west side of the island, so back offshore, a couple of boats there in the distance. Things haven't been horrible for today. The farther south that you go in the island, again, the better opportunity for a couple of showers for today. All right, back over to the weather computer. ABC Islands time, my friends at Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. Showers have developed across the islands today. Portions of Curacao, the Willemstad area, Oranjestad, and Aruba, we had up to a 36-mile-an-hour wind earlier today. So a few showers have developed, locally heavy rain, especially across Curacao and Aruba. Live look outside to Oranjestad. Again, we've quieted down late on this Wednesday. The breeze is still into play, but not as much rain. But earlier in the day, from Post Chiquito, Aruba, Rainier brought in, look at that downpour. My goodness. Again, it hasn't been extremely widespread, but where we had that heavier rain, and that's on the southern side of Aruba, by the way, we have had some healthier downpours. Rainier, I appreciate you sending in that video to help tell the story, and it is coming down in buckets from that video. All right, back over to the weather computer. Again, we've dried out a bit in Central America, especially for Costa Rica and Panama. A couple of isolated showers have developed over portions of Honduras. They're trying to get closer to the La Ceiba area, the Bay Islands. Generally speaking, it's been another hot, relatively dry day. We've been fairly dry in Belize down towards Guatemala, but we have had a few thunderstorms develop across coastal areas and now moving inland in portions of the Yucatan, so the Chetumal area on over towards Tulum, Cancun, Cozumel, inland towards the Merida area, the opportunity for some scattered showers and storms. Now, the interesting thing is they've mainly developed just inland from the coast. We've had a couple of rumbles of thunder, Cancun and Cozumel, but most of this has worked inland, and now they're more concentrated in the northwest Yucatan. Let's get into the forecast, friends. As we do so, thanks for taking a quick second, liking and subscribing to the channel. I appreciate those who have found ways to support the channel. Maybe you want to become a member here and show your support in that way. Supporter tier is just 99 cents a month. Team MM, $2.99. You get access to exclusive member shorts, and that is the join button you can find on the channel. All right, Saharan dust time. Let's take a look at the concentration that'll be rolling through the Caribbean yet again. Going to be more concentrated the farther east that you go. So if you live in Puerto Rico or the Virgin Islands or the Lesser Antilles, guess what? Behind this tropical wave, we're going to start to see, first of all, some brisk wind with some fast-moving showers, but that Sahara dust will come back in and bring a drier forecast as we get towards the weekend. But this one does stay farther south and dissipate, so not as much of an impact for, Hispaniola and Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. This one will be moving into the central sides of the Caribbean and out towards Central America as we get into early and mid next week. So let's get back to Invest 93L. And again, how I expect this to kind of play out. I'm going to switch over to one of the models here real quick, bring that up for you guys, and then we'll loop this over the next 40 hours. Then I'm going to show you the tropical models and how this will play out from there. Again, regardless of the opportunity for this to become a tropical depression, can't even rule out still becoming Tropical Storm Dexter. Look at all of the moisture that's going to be coming in play. I think this just ultimately becomes a very wet, sloppy system with some broad rotation. And again, it could still spin up. It's not out of the question. But if you live in places like Mobile or Biloxi, Mississippi, or New Orleans, or Grand Isle, even towards Lake Charles and Houston, the biggest impact will be the opportunity for some heavier rain and some flooding conditions. There is some decent forward speed with this. This is not really expected to slow down a lot, but over the next 48 to 72 hours between now and late Friday and into Saturday, there could be some pockets of 3 to 6 inches of rain or even higher than that as well. When I show you guys, I'm gonna go out to the broad perspective, so don't freak out again, but I've just got this on these sets. When I bring in the overall potential for the heaviest rain, and then we take a look at that. Again, down here towards Homa and Grand Isle, 4 or 5 inches. Now look, there could be training of storms and there could be some heavier rain than this. But if you live coastal Alabama, Mississippi, New Orleans, Louisiana, Southeast Louisiana area, I would expect, maybe 3 to 6 and locally higher than that. The GFS model doesn't pull all the rain towards Galveston and Houston, but other models do, right? Just kind of depending on how quickly it turns the low back inlet. Now, the European model still has a very high chance of this becoming a tropical depression, okay? Basically 90 to 100%. So the European model still says it's going to happen. The ICON model still does have a low-level center just east of New Orleans in about 24 hours, but the lowest pressure is just 1,012. I mean, that's tropical depression teetering on not even becoming that, but do we get a wrapped up center? So the ICON model tries to develop something, but keeps it fashionably weak. So we'll see how this plays out, friends. But again, I don't expect this to be strong, but if you live in this part of the United States, you're going to get some heavier rain and some gusty winds and potentially, some, storm surge, but it would be very minimal if that would be even the case. We'll be monitoring the situation, of course. I'll have the latest on Invest 93L coming up in tomorrow's video as well. Let's get into the rest of the forecast, friends. I'm going to break out our model here. Again, go back out, and this time we'll take it out over the next couple of days. So as we do, I'm going to go out the next 3 days. We'll talk about exactly what's going to be happening in your area, then to go over the island by island forecast. Guess where I'm going to start? It's going to be Bermuda, because for the first time in a while, my friends in Bermuda have a good chance for showers the next couple of days. This will probably be, with the highest chance coming on our Friday, but even Thursday and Saturday show rain chances. So watch out for that. Could be a little bit squallier weather there as well. Ultimately, we'll be drying out a bit in the northwest Bahamas. Central and southeast will still stay moderately dry. Same situation for Turks and Caicos. 20, 30% chance of rain here, but rain chances will be falling for places like New Providence on over towards Grand Bahama. And again, Grand Turk will stay with somewhat isolated showers. It's still going to be localized heavier rain across Cuba, but there is still the opportunity for us to see some good activity there each and every afternoon. Still optimistic to catch some rain across Jamaica in the coming days. I'm going to favor southern and western parishes in the afternoon hours for the better storm chances. Unfortunately, my friends out east, like Port Antonio and Morant Bay, where it's been driest in the most part over the last, what seems like weeks, if not even months, the overall pattern doesn't favor you. But from Kingston west, but especially towards Westmoreland and Hanover parishes, we could catch some heavier showers and storms, and even southern parishes will be in on the act. I expect the large wave and strong wind advisory to continue over the next couple of days. Scattered rain, but not much for the Cayman Islands, Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, and Cayman Brac. We're going to continue to see kind of development in a localized fashion across the Yucatan. Best chances have been the last couple of days, and again for tomorrow afternoon. A little bit drier air nudges in on Friday and Saturday, so Cancun and Cozumel, Merida areas, rain chances will actually be coming down as we get closer to the weekend. Rain chances might actually improve a little bit for Belize and Guatemala and the Bay Islands, Utila, Roatan, Guanaja, as we get towards Friday and Saturday, but I'm not upping it much. It's still more scattered in nature, still many dry hours and locations, bit of a brisk wind from time to time as well. But one reason why I'm going to be upping the rain chance is we activate the monsoon trough again. It's been relatively quiet, but that monsoon trough is going to spread a lot of tropical moisture. That persistent low off the Colombian coastline is going to feed into that. So for Panama City and San Jose on over towards Managua, even as far north as Tegucigalpa, the opportunity for some heavier showers and storms to begin to return. As we get later into this forecast, we'll get a better chance for rain coming back into the ABC Islands, but just like today, I can't rule out some brisk localized showers in the area. It's not out of the question, but we're just not going to be overall widespread. We're going to have better rain chances in the Lesser Antilles overall. It's the same scenario we've had lately, friends, okay, where the highest rain chance is farther north in the island chain, but the better moisture quality and the opportunity for heavier downpours is down south. Now, one area that bucks that trend is Trinidad and Tobago. You guys do have very high rain chances the next couple of days. I mean, it's not 80, 90%, but I've got you in at 60. And again, some of that activity could even come during the nocturnal hours, the overnight hours. Tonight, overnight, maybe through daybreak, with some showers and a few thunderstorms reemerging in the afternoon. But for Port of Spain and Tobago and even Grenada, I expect it to be a wet forecast over the next 48 hours. It'll dry out as the Saharan air layer moves in over the weekend. For St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it's more scattered. Same situation for Barbados. I can see a few scattered showers, St. Lucia and Martinique. And again, it's not going to be completely dry, but these are going to be more shallow, brisk moving showers rather than the heavier concentrations of tropical moisture off towards your south. Also look for the possibility of a marine advisory here and there as well. Seas could be running 2 to 2.5 meters, especially on the east side of the island. So small craft advisories or an equivalent in your area is absolutely not out of the question. Guadeloupe, Montserrat, Antigua, Barbuda, over the next couple of days. Again, good rain chances, right? But not a lot as far as totals go. Maybe 12.5 millimeters to 25 millimeters, or a ½ inch to 1 inch of rain in some of these areas. Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Bart's, Sabah, St. Eustatius would all be included in that as well. All right, rain chances coming up again. Anegada, Virgin Gorda, Yost Van Dyke, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, and across Puerto Rico over the next couple of afternoons. Pockets of heavier rain are absolutely in the forecast. Again, we had a couple of flood advisories for today, and overall, I just think the moisture content and quality will actually be improved for Thursday and into early on Friday. And again, that's ahead of the next Saharan air layer coming in to knock the rain chances back down. Expect good rain chances as well for the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Should see some widely scattered, widespread rain, that is, for Punta Cana, Santo Domingo, the Samana Peninsula, Puerto Plata. Some of this will slip over the higher terrain and get towards Port-au-Prince. And again, pockets of heavier rain, even across the peninsula towards Lakai, absolutely going to be in the forecast. So these are the areas that I expect to have the highest rain chance over the next 3 days. This is what it looks like in the Northwest Bahamas as we go island by island for you guys. 40 tomorrow. We turn it off Friday, though. About a 20% chance. That's it. 30 on Saturday. Very limited rain chances overall for the central and southeast Bahamas. Same situation for Turks and Caicos. Not completely dry, but just not a lot of rain. Cuba, again, locally heavy rain and a lot of lightning with some of these storms developing. I've got the Cayman Islands at a 30% chance. Fast-moving showers, nothing crazy. Belize City's rain chances, including the Bay Islands of Honduras, should continue to improve Friday and into Saturday. And again, better rain chances the next day or two in Cancun and Cozumel, and then drying out on Saturday. Jamaica's rain chances are okay. Best tomorrow, 30% chance Friday and Saturday. Again, very high rain chances. DR, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands the next couple days, and then fading a bit, ultimately becoming fairly dry on Saturday. Bermuda's rain chances are okay tomorrow, but again, highest on Friday, still 40% chance on Saturday. Solid rain chances again, Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis the next couple of days, and then falling on Friday and Saturday. Still scattered, not horrible, but just not as widespread. 60% chance, Antigua, Barbuda, Montserrat for your Thursday, still 50% chance on Friday. Guadeloupe, Dominica, again, highest tomorrow, fading a bit as the Saharan air layer begins to move in. And that's the general trend, but just not as high overall. Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados. Now you get south, right? Grenada, TNT. These are the areas with the highest rain chances, and again, building up to 60% chance for TNT Friday and Saturday. Suriname and Guyana, good rain chances over the next several days as well. Nueva Esparta, again, basically the farther south in latitude that you are, the better the rain chances are going to be over the next 3 days in this part of the world. 40% chance Friday and Saturday. ABC Islands, again, not a ton overall, but still pockets of heavier rain. Now, for my friends who are boaters, our mariners, Central, Southwest Caribbean, rough. That's why Jamaica is going to have the large wave and strong wind advisory more than likely continue. These are going to be fresh easterlies, 25 to 35 miles an hour, kicking up sea conditions in the 8 to 10 foot plus category. 2.5, 3.5 meters, no doubt about it. A little bit of fresher winds coming back in to Turks and Caicos. Another round of some faster winds coming back into the Lesser Antilles and the Eastern Caribbean in general. Northwest Caribbean looks great. Gulf of Mexico looks fine, minus, again, what 93L is going to be kicking up along the northern Gulf. So rainfall totals look like this. There's a couple of things to point out. There's the heavier rain of the European model with 93L, some of the heavier rain down here, but look towards the end of this and watch this fill in. Do you see that fill in a bit? It's the same scenario where we had Tropical Storm Chantal and 93L develop, where yet in about a 5 to 6 day time frame, there's going to be another front dying out off of the United States East Coast, and could that be the next area of potential development? And again, in the southern side of the Windward Islands, TNT Grenada, farther south that you are, that's a big difference in the potential rainfall from even St. Lucia and Barbados, where they could get 1+ to 2 inches of rain. In places like Grenada and Trinidad and Tobago could easily get 3 to 4 or more, so potentially up to 100 millimeters plus coming in the next few days. Friends, I appreciate you guys. Follow us across all social media, Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. You'll want to send me a picture or video. It's myMediaMundo@gmail.com. As always, you have a specific question about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comments section below. While you're down there, thanks for taking a quick second and liking and subscribing to the channel. And please remember that Meteo Mundo is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. You get any kind of damage to your home, they'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. Friends, I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'm back tomorrow with the latest forecast right here at Meteo Mundo.